Welcome, everybody, to Court Cousins, episode 73. My name is Kyle. I'm joined in person in the Fan Addict by my co-host, my cousin, Jason the Peach. We have a wonderful episode 73. Peach, tell the people what's in this fatty.
Well, we're going to start out with the Are You OK CP check-in as usual. Then we're going to go to fan favorite social media roundup, where we take stuff we find on the interwebs, maybe even from you, and we discuss it here on the show. Then we've got a new segment we're debuting today where we're going to Coach's Challenge based on our optimal starting lineup for the Orlando Magic, starters, bench, and even Peach's top 3 trade targets.
Can't wait for that.
And then it's big, it's thick, it's meaty, and if you throw it in the water, it's even buoyant. We've got the large ending at the back. And I'm telling you, if you know us, but you don't care about the Orlando Magic, you watch the beginning, see the check-in, it's a good time, then watch that large ending. We talk about some stuff that's not Orlando Magic. I wish we did more of that. But this is our Orlando Magic show. So I'm going to get out of my holiday gear, and you tell us some more things.
Okay, as my co-host is disrobing, try to pay attention, folks. It's hot in here. We want to just say thank you, Second Cousins, for being here. Like, subscribe, all of that. We appreciate the love. We are rescheduling, as we announced, the 3rd annual family reunion Court Cousins night. It's going to be in March. We're just, confirming the date. We will let you know as soon as we do. And, of course, we need to shout out the folks that make this show go. Those folks that support us on the Patreon. Hey, did you notice when you clicked into this or any of our segments, there's no advertisements? Well, you have all these lovely folks to thank, and maybe you can be one of them. So, thank you very much to Luis Rosario, Bulby the Dawn, Paulo and Franz's Warmth, Dylan Holden, Magic Player History, Matthew Bell, Dan Young, Damian, and Gloria.
And a special birthday shout out to our contributor. He makes graphics for us, Jay. His birthday was the other day. Man, he's had a hell of a week between Magic games and the WWE show. He's living the Court Cousins night special that we would have had if we were able to go then. But
yeah, definitely a lot of good times around the holidays. But I do want to send my love out to Jay because he did recently lose his uncle. So I'm sure all that fun is maybe a little bit clouded, but sending our love to you and your family, man. Anything that you need, let us know, and we got you. Your Second Cousins, we got you, man. All right. Well, that's a good time to check in. Make sure you're checking in with your loved ones, and that's what we do here on Court Cousins. We always like to start by trying to get a little vulnerable and seeing how we're doing. And today, Peach, are you okay for the OKCP check-in, sir?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. I'm on vacation, so that's always good, right? You're laying back. I'm eating a fair amount of chocolate that's been provided and foods. I haven't had to pay for a meal between work, Christmas parties, and this week. Like I can't remember the last time now. It's been a while, so that's always good because that's what I spend most of my money on. But I did have the opportunity to do, much like KCP in this picture here shows. There he is at Walmart. He was there with, I believe, Paolo Banchero and some other folks buying some stuff for the holidays for kids. And this was me on Christmas Eve because I flew in. I didn't want to pack a bunch of packages. So I was like, I'm going to have to just go out and get stuff when I get there. But I got here on the 23rd, so I knew it was going to be tight. So I went out on a Christmas shopping spree on the 24th. I actually went to 2 different Walmarts in search of something that I didn't even get. I never made a purchase at one, but ended up at a Target, got a lot of stuff there. Just kind of had to, make it up on the fly. I got a little Christmas elf in me, and I just went ham, and it was a good time. It was busy out there as it always is, but if you're by yourself and you don't have anyone behind you, you're not bringing any kids or anybody else, it's looking at you, just kind of stay focused on the mission and you move around and you get some stuff and you grab a couple of McRibs because you're hungry in between with no onions. And yeah, it was a good way to really kind of finish off the holiday season. I feel like it's been a long holiday season for me, starting with Mariah Carey's Christmas concert before Thanksgiving. Decorating everything at work, helping everyone with decorations there. And just finally, now it's over. Can't wait to get back and take all that stuff down. But it's been a good time. It's great being back here in the Fanatic in person, doing some show stuff, watching the Magic, and not watching the Magic lose all the time because we didn't get to see the Knicks game last night.
Yeah,
we'll save that for later.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's a good time. Everything's good. How are you feeling for your OKCP chicken?
Okay, well, thank you, Peach. You were very much a magical elf. One of Claus's elves at times. So thank you for all the nice gifts. For today's Are You OK CP check-in, I have this year's Christmas card from the Caldwell Pope family. It's KCP with his lady and all of the family. And know that this is not an announcement of any child rearing happening for me. Okay, that's not happening yet, second cousin. So don't be alarmed. Although, I mean, KCP, this man is prodigious. All right, this man, he has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got the starting 5. Will he go for 6? We'll see.
Well, he's no Phillip Rivers, but he's putting it in and leaving it in.
The reason that I have chosen this, we've been with family. It's great to have Peach here in the studio with me. We've got Uncle Bernie in, and we don't even have a big family.
I was going to say, there's more people in the Caldwell Pope family currently.
Yeah, seriously, just with this immediate family. We don't have a big family, so it's always awesome having family in, being able to see those important people in my life who I don't get to see all the time. But I will be honest with you, second cousins and Peach, I have gone through a range of emotions. And as I continue to learn about myself, I kind of look at, sometimes I'm feeling really sociable, sometimes I'm not feeling, sometimes I'm feeling elated, sometimes I was feeling down during all the interaction that happens with family. And I guess what is really on top of my heart and mind right now is just trying to really focus on leaning into the pathways that give me all that positive feeling when I'm with family and friends. And that's this right now. So I am very elated right now to be with you here in studio doing this. And then I think later I'll just take my meditation nap. I think I just need a little bit more meditation nap because when you're with people a lot, especially let me not talk for you, but as an only child, I think this is similar for you. Being around even just our family, which is like 6 or 7 people for a while, I do need to recharge and I do need to get a little bit more meditation nap time. I don't know if I've gotten enough nap time, Peach.
That's true. I haven't seen you nap much. You've got a pretty. You get you ring that sponge of the day.
Yeah.
You guys find ways to cram a lot in. That's why sometimes you start talking about we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, and I'm just like, there's not. It's gonna be a wet sponge sitting in a pool of water. Like there's not gonna be enough day to do all these things that you want to do. But
right. Sometimes you just need to slow down.
Yeah, it doesn't. When I go into this is the mode. I don't need I get plenty of alone time in my regular daily life. So when you're on vacation or you're seeing fam, I'm just like, this is what we're doing right now. Yeah. So I don't feel that need to. I got to have some alone time now. Although I have been getting it at night by watching your Netflix subscription because I don't have Netflix at home. So I'm trying to cram in all the Netflix that I could get. So I watched the McMahon documentary already, and I just finished Squid Games last night. So
wow. Oh, he's on a tear.
Moving on.
He's on a tear between 10 and 1. That's what you've been doing.
That's what I've been putting it
in. Okay. Well, make sure, the whole reason we do this is to check in with each other, just to be honest and vulnerable for a little while. Talk with your friends, talk with your family, make sure everyone is doing okay. All right. Now it's time where we check in with you out there, second cousins. The social media roundup where we scour the interwebs for your insightful or just downright funny posts about our beloved Orlando Magic. And we just want to start out by saying happy holidays to you all, however you celebrate. Thanks for spending some time this past year with us. We love you. It definitely motivates me to continue to be here because you are there, and I love interacting with you. Thank you. It's really become a real family here for Core Cousins.
It's true. It's true. I think that as far as actual second cousins, I keep up with none of them.
Yeah.
But I keep up with some of the second cousins. So I think I keep up with them more than my actual second cousins. And,
As we'll see later in
definitely
the
you
show.
more than any of my other cousins who I might see once a year.
Yes, I'm the favorite. But Peach, you wanted to pull this out for some of the artwork here. You really appreciated that.
Yeah, well, you know, they've done the Snoopy comparison before, but I really love that they kind of Snoopy-fied stuff in this one sitting in the tree there.
That is nice.
It's just well done. It's a good time. It warms the heart. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that would rather see a Grinch version of this or whatever. Everybody connects with one thing more than the other. I mean, everybody should like A Christmas Story, but some people don't like that. And to you, I say,
people are assholes.
Well, there's no cans of Simon Eyes for you then. That's totally fine. I'll take all the Zeppelins. The goddamn bumpuses.
Well, I hope you're having a happy holiday. But our boy, Maddie's World, he had a little bump, let's say, in the holiday celebrations.
Tough.
He posted this. Ain't no way my family got me this for Christmas. Frowning emoji. And it's a signed jersey.
Yeah, it's
of Gary Harris.
It's cool.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but we don't like that style of jersey. But if you're going to display this backwards, perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
Still looks like a regular Magic jersey kind of from the back.
It's nice to have in one of those shadow boxes on the wall as a nice piece if you're in the man cave somewhere or the fan attic perhaps.
Yep.
But if you got limited space, it's maybe not the one you were shooting for.
It might not make the cut. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just, this doesn't have a lot of resale value, let's be honest, unless you're looking to sell to some member of the Gary Harris family. Maybe his cousin would like to buy it.
Does he have as many kids as Contavious Caldwell Pope?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah, this reminds me of a time where my lady at the time, she asked my best friend Jake, a Giants fan, what Cowboys jersey to get me.
Okay.
And I open it. Oh, Cowboys jersey, amazing. Miles Austin, who was a nice player.
Okay.
Back in the Tony Romo days, but there were just so many other options.
That's an obscure one.
Yeah. Like Des Bryant was on the team.
Ooh.
Tony Witten was there. Like
Jason
Jason Witten, Tony Romo. Like all of those probably would have been higher on the pecking order than Miles Austin.
Miles Austin, yeah. And your game doesn't even really remind anyone of Miles Austin. Whereas Jason Witten and Tony Romo, I'm making arguments there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, these things happen, but you know what? Maybe they got a deal on it. If you pick that up for $50 or under, that's a deal.
Hell yeah. Why not? The jersey alone would run you.
I was going to say, if you actually like that style of jersey, you could just wear the jersey, honestly, and it'd be cool.
I mean, I have
no one expects those deep bench guy jerseys, right? Like my Rolo jersey that I had from a few years back. Not a lot of those walking around.
And that's a nice jersey to have in the stadium. Someone's like, oh, nice. And then it's signed?
Right. People know you're a real fan. You rocking one of these babies. You walk in with a Polo jersey or Franz, you're just one of the pack. But you come in with the Gary Harris or the Goga. That's on my new Christmas list. I'll tell you that right now.
Hell yeah. My New Year's list. My New Year's list. Okay, next piece. Here we go. Oh, so, it wasn't all as happy a holiday as it was for Maddie. We didn't all get signed jerseys. And there was some other hard news that came out around the holiday, and that was Moritz Wagner suffered a tore ACL and is out for the year. I mean, that's normally a year-long injury to get back. And Moritz was a guy who, believe it or not, I mean, he was playing really well, and believe it or not, he was in the running for the Sixth Man of the Year. I say believe it or not because you did not believe me when I first told you that.
I knew the numbers. I just didn't think he would get legit votes.
No, he was getting some buzz for it. As I think he has the second most points off the bench total, and playing in less minutes than some of the other guys. The little white guy, Peyton Pritchard, is kind of the odds-on favorite right now.
At this point.
I mean,
there's still a lot of hoop left to play.
A lot of hoop, but for us, Moritz was that dependable energy guy.
Yeah.
Some guys fluctuate more than others on this squad, and it just was nice to kind of, as I think Coach Mosley said, pencil in 10 for Moritz every night.
Yeah.
And sometimes he was going to give you 15, 18, 20, was shooting the ball well, passing it, being a hub. Of course, when he was out there with his brother, they had the synergy together. it's really tough to see him go down, especially knowing how badly he wants to perform for the team and this year. So just kind of a bummer around the holiday time. Hoping and wishing him the best in the recovery. We know he'll be back there. That guy is tough, man. He's going to be back, but it's going to be like a year, man.
Yeah, it's a tough loss for us because, like you said, he's energy off the bench. I mean, that's what you want out of bench players. You need those guys that come in that give you energy. They may not show up huge on the score sheet, but they're diving for balls. They're getting in guys' shorts, pissing them off a little bit. That's kind of what Moritz has always been known for. One of the things I've always enjoyed about Moritz's game is that he looks for offense. He is not afraid to try to score, whereas a lot of guys on our team are very defensive base first. Not that he doesn't think of defense, but he's more offensive than defensive. And watching him and Franz play that two-man game is pretty special, pretty fun. You're not going to see brothers get to play on the same team often. And so that's a lot of fun there. But, yeah, he's going to be missed big time. I think in order for us to have really tried to make a Eastern Conference Finals run in the playoffs, I think we're going to need what he brings to the squad. I'm not sure if we make a move at the trade deadline to try to fill some of those shoes or something like that, but that's what we need. If we're not going big for a starter, a big name, like some of the big names I'm going to mention later.
Ooh.
Big names I'm going to mention later. Spoiler. But if we're not going to go for that, then we need to get somebody who's going to be that bench energy dude. Because Cole Anthony should be the bench energy dude, and I love me some Cole Anthony. I brought his jersey all the way from Texas to give him some props, but he doesn't always have it.
Yeah.
Whereas Moritz, even if Moritz wasn't hitting a shot or things weren't falling for him, he was still energy. So we need that off the bench, and hopefully we wish you well, Moritz. Hopefully everything goes well and you're healed up so you can be back next season.
Yeah. Hope he's back soon. Okay, let's now go to a little bit more positive, some hilarity, some lightness, and for that we can always go to Well God. And in this meme, we have a gentleman with a lady of the night, it looks like.
Oh, that's what's going on here.
Yeah, and she's leaning in the car and saying, $200, I'll do whatever.
Right.
The gentleman replies,
can you heal oblique tears?
Man.
200 would be a small price to pay if she could do that.
Amen. But we got the news that Paolo is progressing in his recovery. Here, this is from our boys at Orlando Magic HQ, always on top of things and breaking news. This is coming from some of the reporting that's been going on. Mason Williams, who had a great article, he's our reporter for Sports Illustrated right now, writes that Orlando Magic forward Paolo Banchero has been making significant strides in working to return from a torn oblique. On Friday, while still listed in the team's injury report, his designation changed from torn oblique to return to competitive conditioning. I did not realize that. I'm not on top of the injury report as we used to be. Remember those days, Magic folks, when you'd be NBA.com/injury? That was tough. But, saw some video of him sprinting, getting pressure on his side, shooting. They saying 2 weeks, I think this is what it says from Orlando Magic HQ, expects to be back within a couple of weeks. So I think that's pretty good. Definitely on the
this is about what we expected when it first went down, as I thought, well, he won't be back until 2025, which is about on point. I think it's about time, honestly, where if we're going to play some of these better teams, you've seen it this week, right? We played a great game against the Celtics to pull that out, but they were Tatumless. We got worked by the Knicks and stayed in the game with the Heat. But again, they were Jimmy Butlerless, and we didn't quite put it together. So, we need another big time scoring option. So hopefully he wants to come back and do that. It's weird to think that I'm used to the days where if the guy was healthy, you just go out and play.
Yeah.
But now they so baby players to get them back, make sure they're ready and trying. With certain injuries, I see that, if it's an ankle or something you're planting on all the time, the oblique is such a rare thing, bro. He's, it's not going to tear again. If it's healthy and they've said it's healthy and it's healed, now it's game time. right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to tell me that Paolo Banchero needs to practice going inside and having a guy whack him with a little pad from the side. Like, he knows how to play basketball. I think he's good. Put him in there. But as you know, we always like to baby. We're still babying Jonathan Isaac, so of course we're gonna baby the franchise, which yes. I get, but I don't think this is the kind of injury you really need to milk out too long. It's not an ankle, a foot thing that you got to be careful with. That's on the floor 100% of the time. This is an oblique, and the odds of a third one going this season are astronomical. Put $5 down on it, and if it happens, you'll be a millionaire.
I hope you can't vote on that. I hope you cannot bet on that. I mean,
no, they don't allow that. Not here.
I like that Paulo. He was a little different, right? He always said he was kind of straightforward. He talked to the media about when he's going to be back. He was transparent about how he was feeling and what was going on. So I respected that. It felt a little bit different than some of the other things around what's going on with Jonathan Isaac and the minutes restrictions.
It does. Plus, you're still seeing him and Franz very involved with the team, on the bench, doing things. They're appearing in things between like they're still part of the team. So now it starts to realize, okay, this isn't a team thing. This was a person thing with some other guys who weren't in the way they wanted things held. They just let the Magic say all the stuff instead of being the face of, I'm feeling better, I'm doing this, I'm doing better. So it makes me lose a little respect for some of those players from the past that don't really get out and take charge like Paul and Franz. Maybe that's because they're more of the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
But at one point, one could argue some of those players who are still remaining unnamed, even though you know exactly who I'm talking about, he was at one point supposed to be one of those players.
I mean, the only thing I would say to defend is those injuries. They knew there was going to be like years, but there were so many things along the way. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Right. Let's not talk about that piece.
By the way, Mason Williams, if your nickname's not the Bricklayer, I don't know what's happening. He may be a good shooter, I don't know, but if your name's Mason, you're the Bricklayer.
Well, he's throwing down those hard facts in his articles over on Sports Illustrated, so go check him out. Yeah. Let's talk some good news. Let's talk some good things here, because Paolo Banchero is coming back soon, and he is going to be joining this gentleman, Goga Bitadze. And this is from Statline, a hilarious post here from them, just trolling Zion Williamson, which we love to see. Zion Williamson this year, 136 points. His list is rebounds, assists, and Goga Bitadze this year, and it's all green on the Goga side.
Right.
More points, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks, more steals, higher field goal percentage. Love to see it. And it's the classic picture of nobody at his table when Zion Williamson was getting interviewed.
Yeah, this is why you got to give everybody equal time. To be fair, the hype was justified for Zion coming out. But he just seems like a guy who doesn't really like playing basketball that much because he doesn't seem to keep him in shape, self in shape enough to play long term.
I mean, so
it's equally about Goga being good as it is Zion not being able to play.
Absolutely, but also shame on however ordered this interview session for the rookies. Why do you have anyone being interviewed while Zion Williamson is being interviewed?
Should be one at a time.
Every reporter was going to be at that.
Right.
Don't schedule anyone else to be interviewed at that time because as strong a character as Goga has, I don't know, he's 18, 19 at the time. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like that is, I wonder, I would love
to you know what, though? That's a character building moment.
It is.
He knows about this. He may not have seen this actual picture, but he was the man in that chair. Yeah. He saw this going on.
Yeah.
And he probably was like, okay, I might not be Zion Williamson level, but I'm going to make a difference in this league. All I need is a chance, right? Yeah. And he didn't get much of a chance with the Pacers. He's had a chance to crack the lineup with us and make his way to
starting role.
Right now, will it be in the future? That's coming up later. We'll talk about it.
But the Orlando Magic posted this. They said found it on Reddit, and this is from a comment from a YouTube video of Goga Bitadze being drafted and everything. And this guy says, he was my neighbor in Georgia. He lived in a garage turned into room with his mom right next to the street stadium, which was used for football by kids all the time. But whenever I went at the stadium to play some football, he was there getting up shots for hours nonstop on a broken basketball rim, worked hard since he was a kid. If anyone deserves success in basketball, it's him. So incredibly happy and proud of him. So, yeah, I think a guy with that type of character that came from that single room in a garage in the country of Georgia playing basketball on busted hoops, I think when he was sitting in that seat, he probably had the character already built up to say, no, I'm good enough.
Right.
And I'm going to use this and going to continue to drive and become the player I'm becoming, which is our starting center this year, averaging about 10 points and 8.4 boards this year on great efficiency. He's brought it, man. He's brought that rim protection, that, presence in the paint that alters shots. Yeah. And that was something that we were just vastly underwhelmed with our current roster. And 10 boards a game, I think he had 14 last night. Like, that is something we have not been able to depend on our previous centers for, and we have it in Goga Bitadze.
Yes.
He's bringing that energy, he's bringing that ferocity, and I think with that passion that he's bringing, we're seeing almost a new evolution of Goga and what he can bring. Sure, he has an off night with the points here and there, but that's okay, because as a center, he's taking what comes to him. When this team is healthy, and it will be soon, knock on wood. Oh, please God, knock on wood. He knows he will be that. We don't need him with the offense. That's my point. Mm-hmm. So he takes what he gets. He gets dump offs. He gets offensive rebounds and putbacks. He plays as the game comes to him, and I just love having Goga in the starting lineup, Pish.
Yeah, I mean, God, I've talked about it ad nauseum since the beginning of this podcast about big man shit. I'm not just saying it because I think it's funny or it's what I played when I was in school or playing hoop. It's a vital part of the basketball game, and it's kind of fallen out of favor in a lot of the NBA. But anyone who's got them, it's a big factor in what they're doing out there. And since we're not a very good three-point shooting team, we need to have somebody in there rebounding. We need to have somebody in there who matters underneath the basket doing stuff. And with Paolo and Franz, who might pick up some rebounds out, Goga has stepped in fantastically. He's doing all the big man shit so well that the two big men who should be in our starting lineup are not in our starting lineup. And you know what their names are, and you know on Facebook they're getting trashed by the entire community, and you know that there's some validity there because Goga, probably less athletic than obviously those other two gentlemen, right? Like the frame wise, yeah, he's a little taller, but like those other guys should be able to do what Goga Bitadze is doing, right? Like there's no, and it's more frustrating now seeing somebody else do it who's probably a little less athletic than them. That's why I've always been frustrated with them, because rise up, become that guy. With all these injuries, those two dudes ought to be amongst our leading scorers, ought to be grabbing 10 boards a game. At least one of them, yeah. but none of them. It's sort of like, so Goga's just kind of taking what's there, but aggressively taking what's there. He's not sitting around and letting stuff go. He's playing basketball, and it's good to see, but it also frustrates me because it's like, puts an extra emphasis on those other guys that you'd like to think could do those same things. It's just, you want to be able to get inside there and be like, all right, go get off the 3-point line and go for an offensive rebound now. You're big. Go inside. Do that. Yeah. All right. And like, J.I. plays good defense when he's out there, but he's out there for 15 minutes some games.
I know.
Are you healthy or are you not?
Yeah, what is going on?
Because why do we pay a guy that's going to be, you don't start locking bench guys down until you've got your starting five set. And until maybe recently, that we'll talk about later. I don't know as though we felt solid about the five. There were mysteries. Mm-hmm. So why were we locking up guys that were going to be bench guys? I thought we're locking him down thinking he's going to move into the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm. Talking about Jonathan Isaac contract, gets the extension, and Wendell Carter, both guys that got extensions.
I mean, at least Wendell was starting.
Yeah.
At the time. So, if that's the way they're looking at it, all right, that makes sense, but I still don't think it was a good move, but,
Yeah, now Goga Bitadze deserves that back.
Yep.
The way he's been playing.
And they gave him some money, too, which we thought was a lot for a third-string center at the time, but
that's true.
Here he is not being third string anymore, and God bless him. Thank you, Goga.
Yeah, because he's on a new contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many years is that, Peach? Do we know? Is it 2 or 3? Is it 2?
It's small.
Option?
It wasn't big. It was
Okay.
2 maybe, I think.
He's under contract this year for $9 million, next year for $8 million. It's a descending, and 2026 for $7 million. Yeah.
That's a budget signing.
Yeah, that's
a
what
budget
we
signing.
needed to do.
But it's frustrating to think he gets paid less than those other guys that we were just talking about.
Well, that's what it was with Wendell Carter. It was a descending contract, and then we got him into something else.
It was good, and then it became not good, and then also not tradable.
Not as
which
tradable,
is
certainly
aggravating. It's not tradable at all right now. This season,
Yeah.
not tradable. Ridiculous. One of the only guys that might have had some value out there.
Wow.
Could have probably fooled some other team into taking him and making him a starter. And
$12 million for Wendell this year.
Stuck with him.
$10 million next year, and then we added on 26, 27, and a club option in 28. 26, 27, he's making $18 million. 27, 28, making $19 million. So he got like an $8 and $9 million raise extension a year before this contract was set to expire.
Right. He got a Goga contract size extension addition to his thing for what? If it's me, I'm embarrassed, right? Like, if I'm him and I see this other guy coming off the deep bench that's out playing, I'm embarrassed and I up my game, and I'm not even seeing that. Be one thing if you're trying and you're not skilled and you can't hang with this other guy. This guy's better than you.
Well,
I like Goga, but I don't think in my heart of hearts that he's more talented than J.I. or Wendell. I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't know. Maybe he is. I mean,
I think it's a mentality thing.
Right. Well, then I believe in the mindset I think that Wendell and J.I. have, I would think. So then it's maybe they just can't do it because of injuries, because of stuff. Like their body just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. They're afraid of the hard activity. They're afraid maybe they'll get Me Too'd or something. I don't know what the problem is. Play hard. Go hard. Go ahead and stay on the court for more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
We waited a long time for that guy to come back to have him just play 15 minutes.
It is sad. I mean, this is turning into a little bit of a
his defense is real good
dump for some of the ails of having Jonathan Isaac and the play of Wendell Carter. Both of those guys.
Well, it's more
it's been frustrating, I suppose.
It's a offshoot, like I said, of Goga playing so well.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing that what he's doing, it can be done in this offense.
Yes.
It can be done wearing an Orlando Magic jersey with Coach Mosley. He does allow big men to be big men.
Mm. Yeah.
So go be a big man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. Hashtag big man shit. Okay, what are we going into next? Oh, let's get into some other, some NBA / Magic adjacent topics here, Peach. First one, this is in response to what has been reported as, I guess, lower ratings for the NBA regular season. Is that right?
He guesses lower ratings.
Is that right?
This one's going to be I'm just going to say, this is going to be tough for you guys. I know a lot of you guys are NBA hardos. You're watching every game. I know this guy's one of those dudes. Mm-hmm. So you're just like, what? This is confusing. Less people are watching? Yep. Less people are watching.
And so in having a suggestion, Barkley is offering the best ratings we've ever had. Well, I can't. Can you do a Barkley impression?
Terrible. I can, but it's terrible.
Okay. The best ratings we've ever had was the year we went on strike and started on Christmas. I think we need to seriously consider starting at Christmas because you are wasting your time going up against the NFL and college football. They own the weekends now.
Yep. Well said, Chuck.
Okay.
I've always liked Chuck because I feel like he tells it like it is, even if it's not good. I mean, he's a basketball analyst, right? Like he's not going to want to talk crap about his own sport that he covers.
Yeah.
He's just saying, hey, no one's watching us right now because they're busy watching these other things. I can confirm, like, even this is the same even for hockey. Like if I have tickets to a hockey game and it's on a Sunday, I'd rather stay home and watch the football games than go to the hockey game because I can go to all the hockey games. But like with basketball, it's the same thing. If I've got the option, like, there was a bunch of games on Christmas Day, and obviously they were better games than the football games.
Yeah, they were.
But I still watched the football games more than I watched the basketball games. Or it was pretty close because you were involved, so you had a lot of control over that that remote. But the games were better, honestly,
They were,
and that should be the showcase day. I actually agree with LeBron James at the end when he's like, He's like, I love the NFL, but Christmas is our day. I kind of feel that way. You know, the Thanksgiving, that's NFL day. Let them have Christmas. I don't know if it needs to be game one Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But if they started the season in December and the first time it got full national television was that Christmas Day 4-game slate or 5-game slate or whatever it is they want to do to showcase some of the fun matchups, I'm here for that, because that's about the time I think I and a lot of other fans start paying attention to stuff. I've been paying attention to the Magic the whole season, but I haven't been paying attention to all of the NBA teams until like, oh, well, what's going on now in the rest of the league? You know, let's take a look now, because football's winding down. January is the playoffs. And then in February, we need hoop. We need hockey. We need you to help fill that void. And then March Madness kicks off and hoop is hot then. Like, capitalize on that heat. And we also we don't need baseball. So like, just do a little more basketball during that baseball season.
April baseball.
Let people go out and, like people get a little hyped for when baseball returns in April.
Sure.
And then they forget about it again until like June or July, but when the All-Star game's going to start and shit. Baseball ought to move it back to starting around July 4th and do this same holiday-based kickoff thing. I think it would be just a lot better. Watching habits are different for people now, right? There's apps. They can watch stuff whenever they want. Everything's a lot different. So the league needs to think about changing with it. Obviously, this NBA Cup thing in the middle of the season didn't work for a various amount of reasons. No one cares about this mystery
tie that in?
cup.
Because that's how you could get Adam Silver's ear, is if you're like, hey, Adam, what if you made the cup final or the semifinals on Christmas, you know? Then all of your money, you could sell that to somebody.
Well, if they want it watched, they've clearly found here's a day where we know people are home and are going to consume NBA basketball games. So yeah, what's the best way to capitalize on that?
I think the best way though is, like you said, just get the marquee matchups that you want. If you're tying it in with the NBA Cup, then you could get, you know, whatever it was, like Milwaukee versus.
Then it would be up
market.
to whoever gets hot.
Right.
But honestly, if you're going to do that cup too, do it with the teams that have the best records for the first half of the season. Make that first half of the season matter because they had the best records. Why weren't the Cleveland Cavaliers just automatically in? They had like a super best record, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Why aren't they in there? They're not in there because of these 3 particular games that were played randomly in the beginning of the season. That's bullshit. Like it doesn't really reward people for having a good first half of the season.
That's true.
Which I think is what they were trying to do. They're trying to add some interest to that beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But they don't. If that's the case, you know, and maybe you have one of those teams like the Celtics that has a great record, does win that mid cup, but then goes on to win the championship. But hey, that's okay. That's their reward for playing good in the beginning of the season. You know, in this case, I don't think the Cavs are going to win the NBA championship, but they certainly as hell might have won that cup.
Yeah.
Or they would have had a seat at the table at least. And I don't even think they were in it.
You're making multiple good arguments about how you save the ratings and make the cup better, Peach.
And I'm not alone. You see plenty of takes like this. I even heard Kevin Durant suggesting that they try to push back the start of the season as well.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think they're going to shrink the schedule because the owners are too used to making all that money.
Right.
But you can move when it starts and when it's about. And if they started December 1st and made the 25th, they're really not missing a ton of time there.
No.
They just can extend a little bit.
Everyone gets like 7-8 games leading into Christmas, warmed up.
Stop taking those weird random weeks off. Like there was a weird random week off recently where I think they were doing the NBA Cup thing. So they had like everybody had like 5 or 6 days off. Get rid of that. Play consistently. Pick your days. Stay off Sundays for a while. Hit Sundays back in February.
Right.
You know, just be smart about it.
I'm cool with that because I need sports in the summer. I don't watch a lot of baseball. Haven't gotten into the WNBA yet, and I mean that's it, right?
The WNBA doesn't really need a seat at this table. If you like it, you like it. It doesn't need to. It goes on at the same time as NBA.
No, it doesn't. It goes on.
Doesn't overlap a little bit. The playoffs. I think the playoffs are going on when they start.
The right at the beginning,
and like no one's paying attention to the start.
Then you can get that. You can get that done. All right.
Yeah.
I love it, Peach. I love it. Get this man hired. NBA. Where are you? Corporate. Are you watching this right now?
Just give me a seat in the room. I have ideas. We'll throw them back and forth. Not all my ideas are good, but I might be able to spark somebody else in the room. I mean, I have confidence.
You know who else might consider bringing you aboard their team? Maybe is a couple former Magic players. Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter have joined the Buffalo Bills ownership group. I think, Peach, you are uniquely stationed for a role in whatever, you know, cabinet they construct to drive their interests in this way. Because, you know, when guys are super wealthy, they'll come to the big meetings, But outside of that, there's like a board on top of the trustee, whatever. Right. So you could be on that board, man. I think as a diehard Magic fan and Bills fan, those two things combined, plus with your marketing wit, what we've just seen in the last segment,
right?
This is...
You don't have to work too hard to sell the Buffalo Bills to the area, though, to be fair. They're into it. They're ready to break tables.
Hell yeah.
Eat meats, drink beers, and root for the Buffalo Bills no matter what. So, but yeah, this is a cool connection. We showed a picture of them at a game a while back earlier.
Did you know
this
this was happening?
I didn't know this was happening until I saw this, but it makes sense now. That's probably why they were there. Just another cool tie-in. It always seems like there's some sort of weird tie-in between the Magic and the Bills. And for me, those are like two of my favorite teams that haven't won a title yet. So they also have that in common for me, where it's like, really, you got to let's go. Let's get in that conversation. Like I need one of these teams to win a title in the next 5 years. That would be, it's doable.
This is good juju.
It's doable.
This is good.
Let's go.
This is good connection.
If it happens in the same year, I might just be like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm done with the living. We did it. We saw the things we needed to see. A title in Orlando and a Lombardi trophy in Buffalo, and just make these two gentlemen super happy.
Amazing.
Love it. Let's do it.
Another connection here. We have a team that did get a championship already for the first time. Yeah, let's give it up. Congratulations to the men UVM Catamounts.
Yeah,
who won its first ever NCAA title.
I could have probably taken a better still here, but there was too much excitement. My alma mater, the University of Vermont, won the men's soccer national championship. Vermont, not known for soccer, by the way. They have had a pretty good team lately, but like good in their conference. Mm-hmm. But it's not quite comparable to if Vermont won the NCAA basketball tournament. But it's close. It's close. I don't think a lot of people would have expected Vermont to at all be able to be at this level. So it's fantastic for them. Congratulations to them and all of Catamount country, who gets to celebrate the green and gold, a national championship.
Unbelievable. The alma mater of our family.
Skiing is the only other thing that we've been able to achieve national championships
and hockey.
in.
Not hockey?
Well, we were in the Frozen Four a couple times.
Never got a championship?
Never won the championship. Never even in the championship game.
Oh, man.
So this was our first championship game, actually.
Wow.
And yeah, got the dub. So it's big.
That's huge.
That you got the small markets, the small teams. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're all a fan of some small market team or some small college that you went to. For me, this is them winning a national championship, even in a sport that I don't really care for.
Because UVM, the second cousins don't know, but UVM is in our blood. This is a family show here. And that's where our family is from, right in Winooski, right next to Burlington, Vermont. That's where your dad, my mom, they all grew up.
Yeah, I mean, I worked there for 11 years. I went to school there as well. And I mean, I used to plow off that field so that team could practice. And
going to games.
That's where I learned the Zamboni drive. That's why I'm in Dallas today. So
hell yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, Catamounts. Go Cats, go, baby. Okay.
I know you come here for soccer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You come here for family stuff.
Yeah.
You come here for
football.
A lot of stuff. You also come here for dick jokes, and we are ready.
And here it is.
Thanks to Andy Torres coming into our Instagram chat with the thought process of, Cousins, is it time to give the front office hell for missing this? Dick is up this year.
Yeah.
It was a big year for Dick. And also he's wondering about the Schroeder trade. Dennis Schroeder, we could have easily beat the Warriors offer. Both of these are good talking points, and since he suggested it, we put it on the show. If you want to do that, you do the same thing, then your thing gets up here, you get it. You get it. But thoughts on either one of these or both?
Oh, man. Yeah. And then he has the meme, the picture spliced together, Suggs dick.
Yep.
Above that. That could have been
be the current backcourt.
Yeah.
Missed out.
I think this conversation seems very valid right now, Andy. So thank you very much for bringing it up, because
I'm not sure which one I feel stronger about. They're both great points.
I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna go balls deep first into the front office for missing Grady Dick.
Okay.
Because Grady Dick, yes, having a good year. Haven't watched too much Toronto Raptors. Going to be transparent about that one. Just looking at the stats, okay?
Who would?
Yeah, right. Gross. On 26 games, 18 points, 3.4 boards, 2.2 assists, 42% from the field, 35% from three. Decent numbers. I mean, we don't have any guy in that draft class averaging 18 points. This is Anthony Black and Jet Howard's year. I think what this brings up is the question marks again about Jet Howard, because at the time, even drafting him at 11 seemed like a reach to many of the prognosticators in the NBA draft community, and certainly to what I had seen fans talk about. There was a little bit of buzz about Jet Howard early in the college school year, but then I think he got hurt, came back, wasn't playing as great, so that kind of faded. And so there was a lot of questions, especially when we just had taken a guard, Anthony Black, at 6, and already had a number of guards, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, at that time probably Markelle, still on the team. So the questions were relevant then, and they're very relevant now, because we have Jet Howard, and I'm bringing up his numbers, barely getting minutes. In 30 games. Where are his minutes? Damn it.
Yeah, I think the possibility of Jet getting off the ground with the Magic is right around the same as America Airlines keeping their stuff together to get me home. I know they had some problems. I got here, but I heard they had some problems afterwards. Hopefully they get that ironed out.
I hope your odds are better.
Yeah.
Because Jet Howard has only been playing 10 minutes per game, and I think that's skewed from some games where he got a bunch of playing time, because it's not odd to see him with DMPs or single-digit numbers.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at who was around and who was available, if you thought he was the best shooter on the board, okay, we needed three-point shooting.
Yeah.
No one's denying that that's something we needed. Clearly he's not the guy for it? Question mark? And I say that just because I don't have a big enough I've seen you play pot to pick from. So I'm guessing they just picked him because he was a NBA player's son, and they figured he'd be a good pro at least, right? And do what he had to do to learn, to get better, to learn that game, because clearly he had the ability to shoot the ball. Probably still possesses it.
No, it's there. It's there.
Maybe what he does and the way he does it doesn't mesh well with our team. I really do feel like we have a team that is kind of built in a certain way, in a certain style, and this ties into, Dick just didn't fit in. Sometimes it doesn't fit, and no matter how much lube there is, it's not. You can't wedge it in there. So maybe they thought he wasn't the guy. But another guy that is mentioned in this post is Schrader, and I'm thinking somewhere in the mindset of either the front office or Coach Mose, they're not into Schrader and what he delivers, because we could have had him on this team a couple times,
which is
over the last couple of seasons.
Offense first.
He doesn't like a ball dominant point guard guy, which is why Markelle Fultz, I think, is not on this team anymore. He was the kind of guy that liked to get it, create, do stuff. I liked it because it was creating some offense, which, by the way, our team needs badly. There's some times out there where I'm looking around like, well, no one out there wants to shoot right now, so Jalen Suggs is going to throw up a three. And that's not going really well for us. We're in these games because of our defense. That's our strength. So we need somebody that we can turn to for a bucket once in a while. Paulo and Franz are out right now, right? Schrader can get you a bucket. He's good at getting inside. And sometimes just him grabbing other people's attention leaves someone else open. Now, will we hit the open shot? Maybe not. But that's at least good basketball. So I don't know why we're so anti those kind of guys. I honestly think Anthony Black is probably meant to be kind of one of those guys where he's like, has the ball, he's cutting, he's getting inside, he's making guys double team or come off, kicking ball out. And I think that's why he's not meshing in with this team well as far as getting minutes or staying consistent. But I think the talent is there. I'm not really sure what that's about. I think that might be a hole in Coach Moses' game, that he doesn't really know how to use a traditional point guard. Or is interested in having one, or
I don't know
wants them to like
a traditional.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, get the ball up and get into our offense. He's not worried about. He doesn't want to dribble. It's like you don't get charged by the amount of dribbles a guy takes with the ball. If it's effective and he can dribble around and do stuff, let him cook. But that doesn't seem to be. Yeah, maybe that's not his call.
I would argue that this is back to Andy's point, more about the front office.
Yeah,
and what they have not provided him with, which. Right. They have this vision of this defensive, lengthy, girthy basketball team. And
his wingspan's not long enough.
His wingspan, he doesn't have the wingspan.
Now, Dick is big.
Yeah, he's a taller
he's got
Dick
a
than
lanky
you think.
Wingspan.
Yeah, for a white guy, it's bigger than you think.
Yeah, yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, there was a lot of that's the black eye, right, on the front office. And it's tough to have them because they've gotten 3 wings that could be the foundation of this team moving forward. I'm talking about Paolo Banchero. I'm talking about Franz Wagner. I'm talking about Tristan da Silva. Like, this guy could be really good. Jalen Suggs is a very good shooting guard, I believe, not a point guard.
Yep.
But, yeah, where is that other playmaker? You kind of missed the opportunity to fill in some of the gaps with Jet Howard. You could have had Derek Lively. You could have had some other guys like Grady Dick that seem to be a little bit further along.
Jordan Hawkins, I believe.
Jordan Hawkins, who was tearing it up.
Just guys who can shoot.
He's injured now, but he was tearing it up. There was that miss, and then there was the free agent miss, which Dennis Schroeder is great. You bring that up. I think he's on a 1-year deal for like $12 million.
Yeah.
That's easy. Don't even get me started on Tyus Jones. I think he's making like $10 million a year. He torched us for like 25 points, 26 points. So that is the one thing. If I'm playing defense for the front office, it's slow down, guys.
Right.
We got it. We don't want the usage going to anyone else except Paulo and Franz and a little bit Jalen. And so we're not going to bring in a Dennis Schroeder. We're not even going to bring in a Tyus Jones to eat any of that ball handling. We just want a guy to dribble up over the timeline and pass it to Paulo or Franz.
Right.
And then go from there. So, okay. That's what we're getting, but it's kind of rocky right now in terms of the playmaking and stuff.
They definitely have done well at picking the forwards and wings. That seems to be a skill. And I'm not out. Anthony Black's still very young.
Yeah, I think very good.
And I think he's learning a lot, and I think he's going to be good at some point. He'll be a regular part of the rotation. It's not showing up right now, which you'd like to think it would be with injuries and needing guys to step up.
Yeah.
Instead we're seeing Trevelyan Queen, and we're seeing Tristan da Silva take advantage of those minutes, and they're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
But when you look at our starting lineup that has those 2 gentlemen and Goga Bitadze in there, those are not household names. People may have not been able to name those players at the beginning of the season, from other teams, not us. And that's okay. It's working right now. It's getting us by, but it is a little weird when you have high draft picks or guys you've invested money in that why the next man up. Where are you, man? Where are you, man? Like, what are you doing?
I guess my argument against that, or to retort to that, I would say that Anthony Black is different for Jet Howard for me because I have seen consistently Anthony Black demonstrate a high level skill. Like, I've seen him.
Well, he gets more minutes too. So.
Yeah, well, because one of his high level skills is defense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And to your point, I have been a little disappointed with some of the playmaking and the point guard stuff, getting into the paint, getting to the rim, which I think he can do, but you see flashes of it. With Jet Howard, you see flashes of the 3-point shooting, but he doesn't have the consistent skill like AB can go back on the defense to, high level skill to get that playing time from Mosley.
Yeah, right now I think the most basketball feeling thing about Jet Howard is his name. His first name, his last name. That seems to be amongst the biggest pluses for him. It just doesn't. I'm not seeing it there. But if you miss on that one guy, but everybody else is hitting, or the other guys are stepping up, it's not as big a deal. And right now we're being a lot more chill about it because, like I said, those 3 guys have stepped into the starting lineup and are making an impact. It's weird that those guys that are stepping up to make an impact's names aren't
the ones you would have predicted.
The ones you would have predicted, who are still on the bench unit. I know he doesn't like to mix up the bench unit and the starting unit, but when you know you're not going to have Paulo and Franz for a long time, you got to go back to the drawing board and go ahead and go, okay, we got to come up with a new starting group and a new bench unit for this new time. And you should put your best players out there as much as possible, you would think. So the fact that Mose doesn't put them out there tells you something.
Because I think he has.
Yes. I think he has too.
And they have just not stepped up. So you see Jet Howard not getting any minutes. You see J.I. getting 12 minutes a game. You see Wendell coming out with the bench unit.
And J.I. in particular, he's a veteran now at this point, right? Like, he's been with this team for a while. He's one of the older players on the team. Yeah, if he wanted to be in that starting lineup, he should be able to go and almost demand that, right? But the fact that, like, he's not demanding it, or coach isn't permitting it, or coach isn't saying, hey, J.I., we're going to need 25 to 30 minutes out of you now. Why isn't that conversation taking place? Well, there must be a reason for it. I don't think it's a mystery at this point. I think it's just, he's only good in short spells.
Yeah, maybe that's the player he is.
We either get him in that or he goes back to the IR. So I guess that's the better. That's better.
Crazy on us thinking that it would be anything different.
Wacky to think a guy would play an entire basketball game. Wow.
Okay, well let's go now to talking about some of the greats that have adorned
The number one, yes.
Number one for the Orlando Magic. That is Penny and T-Mac. And Penny saying that he wants the Magic to retire his and T-Mac's jersey together. That they're good friends and that it would be awesome to share that moment with them.
Let's do it.
And that kind of squashes, well, hey, they were both all-time great number ones. Yep. How do you retire one before the other? What do you do? Yep. I think Penny being
other teams have done this. This has happened before.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. But the same number?
Yep.
Okay.
Same number. Even the Montreal Expos had two number 20s.
And they retired them both at the same time?
They didn't retire them both at the same time. They retired separately. But one guy took it over while the other guy had just retired, so they didn't have time to really retire it before that guy was out. So it's sort of the same case here, right? Like, T-Mac came in kind of right after Penny.
Yeah.
There wasn't, a lot of time, and nor would we have wanted to retire his number while he's still playing for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Then, T-Mac ended up going other places after he was with us. But they're both great ones, and I think if you put that together, it will stop people from wearing the one. I don't need to look back in history and see that Gilbert Arenas wearing the one. Mm-hmm. It bothers me. It's always bothered me that J.I. wears the one.
Oh, yeah.
Wearing the one is important, man, for the Orlando Magic because of these two gentlemen. That's why that one is important for them. For him to have it and not be a leader at these guys' level, that bothers me as well, even more.
What will happen with J.I.'s number? Will he have to pick another number? Will he be grandfathered in?
He might be grandfathered in. That they've done that in certain leagues in the past where they
because he's so tight
in.
with the DeVosses.
When they retired, maybe when they retired Jackie Robinson's number throughout baseball, anyone who's had the number currently got to wear it until they were done playing.
Okay,
and then no more. I
suppose that's
anyone
fair.
Else. Yeah,
I think this is big of Penny kind of stepping up, quashing any debate that might have happened. Well, what number one should you raise first? Who is better? Blah 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 blah. I think it kind of quashes all that, being hey, let's do it together. We're friends. Yep. We'll see the number one. Our number ones go up as two of the greatest Magic players in Orlando Magic history. This is a class move.
Yeah, I mean, you could, because of the different arrows, the jersey's shown here, even in the picture. It's just not even the same font one. It can be. You could do each font for each guy. It'd be totally fine.
Peesh, how silly of you to think they would raise the rafters a jersey that the man wore.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yes, well, I mean, we raise O'Neal in a font that he has never even had been a party to.
Yeah, right. So they'll just put the Space Age one up that neither one of them wore, probably. Yeah. But either way, I'd like to see the one go away. For me, that's one of these two guys. It bothered me when T-Mac first took it over, but I kind of got it. Yeah. And you know what? He was undeniable. He holds a lot of Orlando Magic records still for scoring. Let's just get it up there and get it over with.
And fix the freaking Shaq one while you guys are raising and lowering things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on that are just very easily pointed out if they would just ask a few people.
Yeah, just throw a survey to the fans.
Yeah, make an Instagram survey, get 700 people's opinion, and then boom. Yeah. Okay, that gives you enough to know this is not a good idea.
Right. Yeah, it might not always tell you the course you need to be on, but it will tell you the one you shouldn't be on.
It's called market research. It is something that you learn about when you are getting into that game.
So with that in mind, let us know anything in the comments that you like or dislike about the show. We're doing some market research, Second Cousins.
We do it all the time because we have a comment section, so we can get that feedback.
That's true.
And we open. The Patreons can always check in with stuff they'd like to see. So yeah, and if they suggest something, then we go, all right, well let's try that. For a while my gain was bad, so we got a guy in here that cranked my gain up, and now you can hear me better. And it's good. It's better for everybody.
Well, someone in the locker room whose gain has been turned up all year is that man, Coach Jamal Mosley. This is from Magic Nation. With injuries, ejections, and tough circumstances, Coach Mosley, ... see more.
Yeah.
Making the point, reposting from the ghost of Gert. No Paolo, no Franz, no Suggs, no Gary Harris. Mo Wagner out early with injury. Wendell Carter ejected. Anthony Black, something in foul trouble. Terrible reffing. Magic beat the Heat. That's insane. Mosley's coach of the year.
Yeah, for my money, coach of the year usually goes to a guy who's coaching a team who's exceeding what the expectations were for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Paulo and Franz are healthy, we are meeting or a little below those with our current record. But
yeah,
with the things we're doing without them and still being a problem for teams, he's got to be one of the leading candidates for coach of the year in my mind. And that's not a homer pick. That is based on what this team is producing and what they're producing it with. I don't need guys that are coaches of the Celtics who are a talent-rich team. I don't even know that guy's name. Doesn't matter what his name is. He's got a very talent-rich team, and as long as he just kind of like stays out of their way, they're going to win basketball games. Mose is putting in the work and getting guys like Trevlin Queen to step up out of obscurity and play his ass off, and getting Tristan da Silva, 23-year-old rookie, to be a huge contributor on this team out of nowhere. That's epic. I think that's what makes a coach a coach. And so when you look back at the coaches of the year, it does usually go to a guy like Mosley, who's, if this team can somehow get through all this stuff and finish third in the East, that's good enough. Even if he's fourth or fifth with what we've gone through injury-wise, it might be enough to be up there. I don't know who the other leading candidates are. Maybe you're looking that up now.
Yeah.
It's not that there's not other guys that are available, but this man's name will be on the ballot. He will receive votes unless from this point on the team just completely tanks and falls off a cliff, because he's doing a lot with a little. And to me, that's coach of the year stuff.
Yeah, I think he definitely deserves it. He went up against that crazy comeback victory was against a guy in Eric Spoelstra on the other side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of his calling card.
Yep.
And he won some coach of the years because he got talent out of those Gabe Vincent's guys that have gone other places and not done as well. He got the juice out of the guys that people kind of passed over.
Bill Belichick in football, same.
Mm-hmm.
That guy got countless guys to step up and fill those voids, next man up. Then those guys would think they're the shit, go sign a contract somewhere else and just tank.
New coach of the
North Carolina Tar Heels. Yeah.
Of your Tar Heels.
Yes, we're old for football. I'm not as much into them for football.
Stick around for the large ending for more on that. But
okay,
really, we're in what? I brought up the league standings. 4th place in a hobbled East with our main scorers out. That's impressive. And what I think is most impressive to me is the mindset that he has, that when those big guys go out, the identity of the team doesn't change. Not at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's defense first.
And that it shows you the culture that he has created. And so let's see here. I think there are other guys out there like Dagno. I think kind of like
Dagno.
Yeah.
His name is Dagno.
But don't they pronounce it Dagno?
They do. He pronounces it wrong. He's an idiot.
Okay. So that idiot in Oklahoma City, Mark Dagno, I think the narrative is there for him a little bit more because he was getting buzz about it last year. The Thunder have continued to succeed this year with some injuries, although not to their major guys. So I feel like he's going to get it. I think that Coach Mosley, though, should be getting it in one of these years, if not this year, next year. Let's see here. The betting odds, according to a bunch of different sports books, have Kenny Atkinson, the new coach of the Cavs, winning it with their hot start. It's tough to say that. I mean, what if they don't make it out of the second round? They get the same result. Is that really? Yeah, it seems better. But then there's Taylor Jenkins from Memphis dealing with a lot of injuries as well. Ime Udoka, that's the guy whose name you didn't know from the Celtics.
And coach, no, Ime used to be the coach.
Oh, yeah,
he's the coach of the Rockets now.
Sorry.
That guy would be in consideration for sure because the Rockets have turned things around.
Yes, they're playing well. Then right behind Udoka is Jamal Mosley at plus 850. Okay. So if you feel good about that, those are odds
That's
you
a good
like.
ad. That's a good odds.
Yeah.
Slap it down.
Yeah, $5 on that gets you some.
I didn't know you could bet on that, but I think the coach of the year is only done on the regular season. So I don't think the postseason is counted in that.
Correct.
So the Cavs could still have that decent regular season. If they finished number 1, it'd be tough to ignore their coach, to be honest.
Yeah, they have had a tremendous
because they are doing a lot with a little too. That's not a number 1 seed in the East. They're solid. They're solid.
Ooh.
They're solid. They're not the number 1 team in the East. To me,
Who else?
they're
Celtics?
3, 4. They're more in our range than they're not. They're not
man.
Celtics. They're not
know.
Knicks right now.
Yeah. One more healthy.
To me,
I would say that.
if the Bucks have been looking good lately, they can work their way up into that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Cavs will slide down. I think they should. I think go ahead and make it as the 1 seed. Good luck. Like, I don't know. I just don't think they'll have it when the time comes. Donovan Mitchell's the only one I fear on that team.
So would you take any of these guys ahead of it? Would you take Kenny Atkinson, Taylor Jenkins ahead of Jamal Mosley, Ime Udoka?
Well, you might. Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
I mean, they're ones to consider based on.
But you're betting on
what I'm
Coach
laying down.
Mosley.
I would bet on Coach Mose
for those odds for plus
Absolutely.
850.
Absolutely. I'd bet on it for those odds, and I'd bet it because I like the man,
Amen.
Coach Mose.
Yeah,
We
we
see
like
what he
you, so
does
we're
day
going
in,
to
day
give
out.
our money to Vegas. All right. Well, Peesh, it's time for a new segment.
New segment.
Yeah. Are we going into Coach's Challenge now?
Yes.
Coach's Challenge. We're trying something new out there, second cousins. I think the concept of this is one of us is going to provide a discussion about a topic, and then the other will have to find something to challenge about their statements, about their argument, perhaps. And this time we're going to start with a roster-themed one, and then we're going to free agents.
That's correct.
Okay. And you're starting, right, Peesh?
Yes. So gather round, children. Gather by the fire.
Let me get a notebook.
Grab your nog and sit. So I'm going to give you, we're living in a world where everybody's healthy except for Moritz, because Moritz is out for the season, so he won't be back. So we're trying to take a look at what we think the Orlando Magic's lineup is going to be once Paolo and Franz are back and everyone's healthy and going. So it might not seem as interesting with the first one that I pose, but it will start to get interesting when Kyle poses his one off the bench, I think.
Which I've definitely prepared.
And by that, he means he's working on it right now, which is usually my thing. So he's stealing my thing. So I'm going to give you the proposed starters for me. At forwards, I've got Paolo and Franz. Duh. Not going to talk about that anymore. That one goes without saying. At guards, I've got Suggs and KCP. I'd honestly rather see KCP come off the bench for us, but I think he's the best option we have right now. He's shown that he is capable of scoring the basketball, and he's played a little bit better lately. I do still feel like Suggs is, more of a shooting guard. He's been filling it up lately, but we need some ball handling, and so between Suggs and KCP, that's sort of like the stopgap, right? That's what we've got right now. At center, I've got Goga starting. I don't care if all those other guys are healthy or not. I love the effort too much from this man to have him be a bench or deep bench player. I can't go back to that old seeing a DNP from him once in a while when, Wendell goes for 9 and 5 boards. I can't have it. I won't. So let's put Goga in that starting lineup. That for me, that's the optimal starting lineup for the Orlando Magic the rest of the season, barring a trade, which we will get to later if that happens. But what say you? He's
well, I have to challenge.
He's using a coach's challenge.
I wish I had a cool audio or maybe some type of visual transition, but I don't.
One of these do stuff, right?
Oh, that's the German drinking song, yeah.
Well, all right.
I challenge during the German drinking song. I challenge this calls that you have.
Uh-huh.
And what I challenge, Peesh, is your starting guards.
Okay.
Okay, Peesh? You kind of stole my thunder a little bit here by making an argument against yourself, because what I'm challenging is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in the starting lineup. Okay, I am challenging that, and I would say we need a different guard, a ball handling guard, more of a point guard in that starting lineup. Mm-hmm. I would, offer you Anthony Black.
Yep.
Okay. In that starting lineup. So the reason being, I've seen enough of the Jalen Suggs experiment. I'm sorry, Jalen. You're a wonderful human being. I respect you greatly, but you're a shooting guard. That's where you will thrive. And I think at times him trying to play point guard out of position is actually hurting his development as a shooting guard. Because oh my gosh, I just have visions of this guy running off of off-ball screens and getting into feet-set three-point shots. Like, he's got a great shot when he's set. When he gets out of control with the dribbling, it's not great. But he's been working on the step back a little bit. We can give him Feed him off of screens, get him in movement, get him moving downhill, get Jalen Suggs moving off the ball towards the hoop, and good things will happen. And I think that's what his role is. So I say, sure, challenge that. Get him into the two guard.
Okay, well, New York has looked in and they've decided that the play stands. There's not enough to overturn.
No.
They've decided. It comes from New York. They make the calls.
No, it doesn't. It comes from Secaucus.
I
thought they would be upset because you miss. I think it's.
They don't like to be
the Jersey
considered from New Jersey either. When they really get down to it.
That's how
they're embarrassed that they have to be in New
Jersey. Secaucus is.
Yeah. They had to name it the Garden State to try to make it interesting. But
I think my point was great. It illuminates what we talked about.
It's not that it's not a great point. It just wasn't enough to overturn the call.
Okay.
You see. Like the original call on the court was, this is what we have to do. It's the best thing.
So I needed to bring some on-off stats, I think.
Maybe.
Damn.
If you'd prepped, you'd know.
Yeah.
I'm just being a dick.
See, that is true. If I had some on-off numbers.
He does usually have a plethora of numbers in here. This is probably the least amount of stats I've ever seen on a pregame.
I need a second cousin out there. Back me up. Can you give me some on-off numbers with Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs as the point guard?
I would love to see Anthony Black be that point guard.
Yeah.
I think a year or two from now he is.
Right.
But he's not today. And we're talking about today, this season, right now. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like they're ready to give him the ball as a starter and say, do this consistently.
Right.
So,
and
the skill set's there.
Yeah. It was a little confusing, the move, the signing of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, getting one of the best shooting guards on the market to bring in next to Jalen Suggs. It was confusing then. It's confusing now.
Yeah. Well, they're just doing what they can do.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me what your optimal bench is, sir. Give me scenarios.
Can I have Anthony Black on my bench now that I've just I've challenged and he should be in the starting lineup? How does that work? Or do I go off of your starting lineup?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Because
all
this
right.
is hypothetical time. I thought that was the meaning of hypothetical. So.
Okay. This is Wacky World. This is Kyle's Wacky World. Okay. So then I'm going to have on my bench, I'm going to have Jonathan Isaac and Wendell Carter as my bigs. Okay. And believe it or not, Peesh,
sometimes you can go big by going medium. And that's what you've done here.
I don't know. I guess Wendell will. I don't even know who would guard or play because they just both want to shoot threes. But one of you is going to have to play the center position on a night-to-night basis. It will depend. If it's more of a meaty center, then I'm going to have Wendell down there.
Sure,
He's got a little bit more of a big body, although that's Jonathan Isaac put on the weight this offseason, so we thought he could play the 5. Doesn't appear to want to. So he's going to be at the 4 most times, Jonathan Isaac. Those are my 2 bigs. Because I have Anthony Black in my starting lineup, he's not available to me here, I guess.
Sure, if that's what you want.
Well, I put TDS here as my backup 3. I really like what Tristan Da Silva has been bringing. Remember at the beginning of the year, he was not really in the rotation when everyone was healthy.
Right.
So he deserves to be. He's in my backup lineup.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have KCP here because he wasn't in my starting lineup.
Okay.
So he is in my backup role right now. I don't know how happy he is about that. I can't imagine that he signed here to become a 6th man. Don't think he did. So that might cause some friction in the front office. But like you said, hypothetical town, here we are.
Yep.
And then I'm going to have, as my point guard, completely making this up right now, Corey Joseph. No,
wow.
Just kidding. I'll put Cole in there.
CJ's look good, though. With limited minutes, I'm telling you.
Honestly, I wanted to go with it, but you got to get Cole the minutes. He's the younger kid.
Yep.
You got to just give him one more bite at the apple. It's like, Cole, this is your make or break year. Like I said in an earlier show, it's his penultimate year in fill in the blank. So you got to at least give him that penultimate year. He's been flashy and inconsistent. He'll have some good games and some bad games, but that's kind of been the story with Cole Anthony. Can he fix it in the end of the second half? I like what I have. It's basically like the island of misfit toys with J.I., Wendell, KCP, Cole, who didn't quite crack that starting lineup for me, and then Tristan Da Silva, who I think is on the ascent, who is going to really be bolstering that starting unit when he comes off as my 6th man. Yeah. He's
All
coming
right,
off as my sixth man.
I'd like to ask a couple of follow-up questions.
Okay,
If you,
all right.
Can we?
Sure.
Who's first off the
Before you
bench?
challenge, can the coach talk to the ref before they challenge? I don't know, but we'll allow it here on Court
Okay.
Cousins.
I'm just wondering if you have one of these guys coming off first, or are they coming off positionally? Is that what's going on here? Who's got the most minutes coming on that bench
Okay.
from you?
Well, in a normal world, Franz would probably be first off.
Okay.
Starting because he would come and play the most minutes with the second unit as a pair with his brother, but his brother's not here right now. So I'm going to say then Jalen Suggs is going to come off, and I'm going to put in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He'll be my sixth man.
Okay.
Because we'll get Jalen. He'll kind of run with Cole, the second unit, a little bit more.
Yep.
And Kenny will get some more minutes with the starting lineup than anyone else. That's how, when you bring him into the office piece and you say, hey,
Right.
Kenny, I know we had an agreement when you signed that $22 million a year that you were going to be a starter too. Look, you're going to be there, all right? And most nights you might end, but we got to do this.
And this is difficult because as I'm talking about it with my team, I'm thinking we might not want to use our challenge here. We were prepared to make a challenge, but a certain gentleman ended up on your list. And so we were kind of like, that was going to be where we went. And I cannot challenge the Anthony Black thing because he's starting for you.
Well,
so for me, he should be on the bench.
Okay. Well,
and I don't know if that's challengeable.
I think that's
I'm asking the referee. He says it's challengeable.
It's here.
Let's go ahead. We'll take a look again. So AB is a developing point guard. He needs to be in there at developing point guard minutes. I like the idea of him working with Cole Anthony off the bench to see if Cole's got it tonight. And my other question, which is sort of related to this, is, by the way, Cole Anthony, if you don't have it tonight, and we learned this in the first 5 or 7 minutes, you will not be back in the game later,
ding, ding, ding.
Regardless of how much we like you. The one guy I'd like to see on this list that you're not mentioning at all is I would like to see more Trevlin Queen. The man has played fantastic defense while he's been out. He's been guarding some of the better players in the NBA during the stretch and really proving that he can do it. We know Coach Mose loves defense, right? And I see Cole Anthony as mostly an offensive guy. So if he's not feeling it in the shooting department, he's coming out of there pretty quickly for Trevlin Queen. And I could see TQ really pushing on this lineup to be on the regular bench squad getting some minutes because he's been impressing Mosley in defense, which that's where he loves it. Is that the way I would build a team? Not necessarily, but I'm not a leading candidate for Coach of the Year in the NBA. So that's the way I see Mose figuring this thing out. So I'm saying TQ almost split. He's not going to be the point guard that Cole Anthony is, but at this point, I've got Anthony Black and TQ as my backcourt off the bench. That's the bench I would like to see. As far as the bigs go, I know that statistically that's the way it has to go. Those have to be your bench guys. And TDS, man, he's been playing great. He reminds us a lot of Franz. So who better to replace Franz off the bench than TDS? You'll get no argument from that's not part of our challenge, referee. I just want to let you know. We're totally fine.
Just an addendum.
With the TDS and the mediums playing big. We're good with that. We've made our peace. Okay. It's the guard that we're questioning, and we'd like to see it be AB and TQ.
I like that you're bringing in Trevlin Queen. What happens when the team does?
Well, I met him in the hallway a while back.
Yeah,
he seemed like a nice lad when he was playing against the Texas Legends. Got to see him in action. Had no idea that he was going to be capable of doing this right here, but you can't tell me this guy doesn't deserve some more minutes. We'll see what they think in this.
It's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough to see him getting any minutes when, knock on wood, we are healthy again when Paulo and Franz get back. But
yeah, you're not wrong, but
I know.
I'm trying to wedge him in there because I have to challenge.
You should be. All right. Peach, the last one now.
Well, it appears.
Oh,
we don't know.
You want me to accept?
We've apparently lost it.
That's part of the bit. I forgot.
It's part of the bit for me because I have the headphones on, so I can hear things. You don't.
Yeah, you improvised that part of the bit, so we didn't talk about that part of the bit before.
I did.
Okay, so here we go. Hold on. I got to put on my headphones. Listening to Caucus. Yep. No, what's that? Yeah, you do like Anthony Black coming off the bench a little bit more. Okay, interesting. It's overturned. I've been overturned by Secaucus.
Wow.
They do like Anthony Black coming off the bench.
Interesting.
I think that's where he should be right now. I wouldn't have thrust him into the starting role if the front office had given us a more surefire guy to be in that unit. I think right now he's the youngest player on the team. Coming with that second unit makes a lot of sense. Let him get some more reps.
I got to tell you, right now it seems like where we had discrepancies, where challenges were made, all in the guard department. And you're in luck because it's time for Pisha's top 3 trade targets. That's right, trade targets. I've written it here. You can't see it. Maybe he'll put a graphic on screen. Probably not.
Well,
but it's Pisha's top 3 trade targets. So I'm going to give you my top 3. I'm going to go from 3, 2, 1 trade targets that I'd like to see become part of the Magic. And you tell me if you got a coach's challenge that, or whether you're on board. You don't have to challenge everything. You lose a timeout if you're wrong. Right?
That's true.
You're already down 2 timeouts. You're not going to have many left at the end of the game at this rate.
I feel confident I'm going to be able to challenge something with the amount of NBA chatter you stay abreast of.
That's accurate. That's probably accurate, but not with these gentlemen.
Okay.
Not with these gentlemen here.
Okay.
Number 3, I've got D'Angelo Russell. I've kind of always been a fan of his game. He provides some scoring, and he could mix into our backcourt, I think, pretty well. You might make we got KCP argument. But I like the way he can fill it up from time to time. Little injury prone, maybe. That gives some cause for pause, but that's why he's only number 3 on my list. He's available. I think he could be gettable.
Yeah.
Seems doable.
I kind of see where you're going with the trade targets.
The trade targets.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not see D'Angelo Russell coming in this list, but I'm excited.
I didn't put him on there just because he was a D to go with another D. I legit was like, okay.
Well, I know who the next D is going to be, or one of the Ds.
Why don't you just give your comments on D'Angelo Russell?
You want me to go one at a time? Give me all 3 of the Ds, because I don't know who the third one's going to be.
You want them all?
Give me all the Ds.
Okay, so at number 2, I've got De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talked about him a little bit on the last show. Pipe dream it. This guy's good. Sacramento Kings falling apart. Just fired their coach for almost no reason. By the way, he was coach of the year, I think, 2 years ago, last year? Recently. Recently, coach of the year, gone. You got to go. So it looks like they're ready to move on him. I mean, yeah, we may have to give a bunch of picks or something, but if we have to sell a little bit of the back house to strengthen the starting lineup, no better way to go than De'Aaron Fox. The guy's a bucket. Now, when it comes to buckets, there's no better bucket getter than number 1, Jimmy Butler. There's nothing better than Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. We all know that this man plays like a man possessed. And it would be great to be able to steal him from the Miami Heat. But this one won't happen because I feel like the Heat would never trade with us, even if the trade somehow behooved them big time. I just don't feel like we'd be an option for him. But if I'm pipe dreaming it, if I'm playing this hypothetical game, there's nobody I'd like to see on our team better than a guy who just professionally gets buckets and would be a great veteran for our team going down the stretch. With him and KCP as veterans on this team, when the playoffs hit, I'd be like, we can fucking beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes a challenge.
I got so many challenges to go around.
So many challenges.
Yeah, I think, okay, so I have to be careful because I only have one challenge.
Right.
So I'm just going to talk out loud a little bit, and then Second Cousins, you let me know which one I should go to.
The most.
So D'Angelo Russell just doesn't fit the DNA of the team at all. I don't know if this man has ever seen or read anything about defense in the NBA. It's been well chronicled how much he falls asleep on the defensive side of the ball. He just seems to have no heart for it. That would be potentially a train wreck because you'd take on his money and Jamal Mosley would play him 0 minutes because JJ Redick kind of has to. The Lakers don't have much of anyone, but we don't, especially when Franz and Paul come back. So, woo! There's a lot to challenge there, Peach.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, there's number 3, right?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to come up with 3.
Yep.
I didn't feel as passionate about him as I do wanted to.
No, that's fair. I think so with De'Aaron Fox. That's one we talked about on a previous show. I could throw the flag on that, Peach. I could even throw the flag on that, and there are good reasons for that.
You could throw the flag that it should be number 1.
No. I could throw the flag that that's not something that should be on the list at all, Peach.
Oh.
Yeah. Because as the team is falling apart, and as reporters and fans are looking to their number 1 face of franchise guy for some accountability, he's kind of shirking.
Yeah.
He's not taking accountability for his defensive lapse in a recent game where he fouled the 3-point shooter and gave up the game.
True.
He's making statements like, no one really cares about it, so why would I even talk about it? Well, you got to talk about it, buddy.
Right.
It's your team. You're the face of the franchise.
They're not lighting the beam anymore.
There's no beam lighting. The vibes that were so brilliant for that beam are not there anymore. Mm-hmm. You can make the argument that a new setting around new guys, bring him into the family of Orlando Magic, he could turn the pit. He could revive. He could revive. He could revive up. He could vibe up. So I don't think I'll use my challenge on that. And then the last one, the Jimmy Butler. Woo! He has had quite the topsy-turvy year, trading barbs with Pat Riley through the media, it seems. I want to get traded. Well, we don't have to trade you. We ain't trading you. Magic were not on that short list that was leaked to the media of who he wants to go to. And so he is going to be – he has a player option next year. He could opt out of it. There's no security if you trade for Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
He seems to want that max money. He's already getting 34% of the salary cap. So with Franz getting 25% and Paolo going to get 25% this next season – you can't really have 3 max players and not be into the luxury tax. You'd be making a team to win this year, and I just think it's a little ahead of the timeline. Plus, whatever you have to give up.
Real about it. You forgot about that.
No, this is not hypothetical zone. I called in Secaucus. They said this is reality, baby. This is real time, and I just don't think it's a feasible option. There's other guys out there like a Colin Sexton. An Anthony Simons that people have dreamed about in Orlando, bringing the Orlando kid.
Sexton was on my short list for
Sexton, I think he's making like $16 million a year. They're definitely trying to blow it up in Utah. Let's see here. I think that would be very gettable. Maybe like a first rounder or maybe just a couple second rounders. He's making $19 million next year, 12% of the salary cap. So
Sexton was on my. He was probably 4th. He was really considering him or D'Angelo Russell. I want a bucket getter, man.
Yeah.
I want somebody that can just get a bucket for us. And we don't have to do much, but except maybe set a pick for him that he doesn't even use. And that's just desperately what I want for this team. So that's why I selected 3 guys who can fill it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go ahead and challenge that first D. The D'Angelo Russell.
Okay.
That's lack of mindset, lack of scoring, lack of defense.
They've already communicated to me that is a successful challenge. Yeah, they said if he picks 3, that's dead. That's deadpan because your Coach Mosley defense alone is really honestly that's all you need to know. Yeah. The lack of defensive effort will have him out of the lineup so fast it'll make your head spin.
Dead money.
Which again at some point. I'm sorry, I know that's our team thing, but you need to score the basketball occasionally, right? Like we lost to the Heat the other night, 88-89? Like you got to score, right? Like no matter how good your defense is, you still have to at some point, if one player is really good on offense, you have to make the sacrifice that don't put him on the best offensive player on the other team on D. Just deal with it. I've played with guys that, hey man, they don't play D. But they're going to hit every other 3 they throw up. And it's like, okay, we can work around this, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's not crazy. But...
You have to find a way to do that at some point because not all people who are great at D can also provide offense. And I think that's why KCP came to this team because he was billed as a man who all defensive team shoots the 3 ball well. Boom, checks 2 boxes for us. That's why he came to this team. Yeah. If he didn't do both, he probably wouldn't have been added. Yeah. And if he just did the shooting, he wouldn't have been added either because there was a ton of other shooters that we just went, we don't even, what are you guys even doing?
Malik Monk, no.
Buddy Hield, are you even a thing? No, you guys don't play defense, we don't want you.
Right.
But at some point, it's okay to accept somebody who might be, maybe he's an only 79 on NBA 2K in defense. But on offense, he's a 94. Like, it's okay. You can have some of those guys on your roster. And so that's what I'm looking at here is it's like, I need some scoring. Give me some scoring. Let's get it back. Because I'm seeing a team without Paolo and Franz, to be fair, who will be doing a bulk of the scoring if everything's dialed back in and everyone's back. Just want a good third option, Kyle.
Yeah, that's.
I don't want it to have to be Jalen Suggs.
Yeah,
I like Jalen Suggs playing as defense and maybe not being as offensive. I want that for him. But we got to have some guys on the court that can bucket get.
Let's get some bucket getters in here, front office. Listen to Peach. Still haven't hired him. We've been doing this podcast for an hour. We haven't gotten any emails. Don't know what the fuck is happening over there. Get your shit together.
Yeah, well, they heard I thought they were in New York instead of Secaucus, so now they're just like, does this guy know anything? But he does know how to get to the large ending.
All right, it's that time, Peach.
It is.
It's time for the large ending. Do you know where the button is here?
I think it's one of these. It's one of these over here, right?
No, Peach.
That's it.
No.
Oh, goddamn. Here it is.
It's the other one. There.
It's this one. Boom.
And there we go. Peach, you're getting us started on this one tonight.
Oh, okay. I went off. That's my bad.
Yep.
And I forgot how the shows works. All right. So one of the highlights of Christmas for me was watching this man over here light up like a Christmas tree, like a kid who just got the new Matchbox set that he was so excited about his new thing.
Yes.
It like vaporizes weed or something. Anyway, totally loves it. It fills up this big bag, and then
it's a volcano.
He breathes it out. Anyway,
display.
You've recently gotten into rock climbing as well, so I would consider these two new hobbies for you. So I ask ye, which is your favorite, bag or rock? Rock climbing, or this new volcano bag of weed?
I do like the volcano. It gives me kind of a lighter
bag.
feeling than the smoking combustible stuff. It's fantastic. I feel like it's going to be good for a boon for my life. But I think rock climbing is going to be better. It's a great way to get exercise. A lot of fun. It doesn't feel like going to the gym, which I do enjoy doing, but sometimes it's a drag.
And the family participates with this.
Yeah, I go with my wife, and my dad has been going. So
meanwhile, none of us want the bag.
Yeah, that's true. I can't share any of the bag with you. I've surrounded myself by a bunch of sober people, which is probably me trying to tell myself something. So therefore, it's rock climbing.
Okay.
So, Peach, the big news in the college football arena has been Bill Belichick to the Tar Heels. Now, for those of you who are diehard second cousins, you know that Peach, when we're talking about college sports, we're talking about the UVM Catamounts, which we mentioned earlier in the show, and we're talking about the North Carolina Tar Heels, particularly for basketball for the Tar Heels.
Yeah.
So how do you feel, Peach? You also know out there, second cousins, he hates Boston sports. Mm-hmm. And about Belichick, probably one of your biggest sports villains, going to
villain
coach.
Is much better than what you've written here, which is most hated guys, which is incorrect because I have a great deal of respect for Bill Belichick.
Okay. But he was a villain for a long time.
Villain, yes, but a lot of respect because I've always, I have a lot of respect for Darth Vader too.
Yeah,
good villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good villains are important.
I've always enjoyed his. I've always thought he was a great coach. I respected him even when he was still the coach, and I respect him even more now. Watching him break down some games and showing us the inside of stuff, fantastic. I will miss that. Actually, that's the worst part of this is that now he's not going to be in studio doing shows anymore. Sharing that knowledge with everybody. He'll only be sharing it with the North Carolina Tar Heels football team, which I gotta imagine it's gonna go pretty well for them. But maybe not. I don't know. College is a completely different beast, especially with the NIL now.
Does he really want to get out and do all that?
Could be tough. I don't know. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with it, but I'm gonna miss him as an analyst because I was enjoying his analyst work.
Wow, what a turn! I did not expect respectful, nice Peach to Belichick. I think if we were doing this,
football is a fantastic game, and this guy is one of the leading leaders in that. He figured that game out and how to get the most out of bad players. So it's impressive. You got to tip your hat to the guy. He's definitely better than that other guy that's trying to do broadcasting right now that he used to play with or work with.
That is
Thomas Brady.
Okay. Oh, that guy. I know who that is.
He's getting better, to be fair. He was pretty bad at first on the college.
Yeah,
he's much better now. I want to give you just a free moment to rant about NBA TV and how games are blocked out. Because we didn't get to watch that Knicks Magic game because we went to the Bridgeport Islanders game last night. Worst team in the AHL, by the way. But I wanted to stop by the old stomping grounds and check it out. And we thought, we'll just watch the Magic game when we get back, and then we'll do a wrap-up. But
the worst thing about it is that it happens in that way most of the time. Because as you referenced earlier, I do enjoy the bag and some THC consumption.
Loves the bag.
And
hates commercials.
And I do hate commercials, so I very rarely watch things live. The livest I'll get on a game is probably 30 minutes behind, so that I end approximately when the game would have ended.
I think you hate commercials more than you like the bag or rock.
Maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe that's true. But what I hate right now is NBA TV or Madison Square Garden Network or just local blackouts, because I always remember them about an hour too late. Oh yeah, I'll watch it, later without commercials, and we'll just enjoy this hockey game together. Camaraderie, family, awesome.
Right. One of the things I can pause, one I can't.
You're right, exactly. I try to live in the moment, Peach. That's what I try to do. And because I watch my majority of the games like that, I just don't remember. And then an hour into the second period, I remember, oh shit, Peach, we're foiled.
If you pay for the service, bottom line, you shouldn't get blocked out. If you want to make there be, just make sure it's that coverage. If they said, hey, you can't watch the Magic coverage for this game, you've got to watch the MSG coverage, and they pipe that into us,
okay,
fine.
Yes.
Okay? That we can deal with, because then you still get to see the game.
Yeah, NBA, figure out how you can pay MSG and whatever it is, other local broadcasts that you all work at.
Because you're going to use that feed anyway for other people. So what are we doing?
Let us use it. Figure it out on your business side. You're all making billions of dollars. Let me watch the Orlando Magic for the service I paid for, you bastards.
I hear you, man.
And I get the Nets games get blacked out here too, so I have Yes and MSG in the New York City area. That's probably an ill that not many of you can relate to. Some places have one, but rarely two. Are there other places with two basketball teams? Maybe like Golden State and LA, or the LA teams. If you're in LA, okay. But we don't play those teams that much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even in Florida, I mean, you got Orlando and Miami are pretty close.
Do they black them out if you're near Miami?
I'm not sure. They might.
Oh, that would suck.
If you live in the Everglades, you probably have to choose.
All right, Peach, you mentioned that we went to the Bridgeport Islanders, Sound Tigers, baby, always Sound Tigers in my heart, game, and they got beat 4-1, but it really felt like the score was 8-1. None of their forwards could finish, just doing too many passes. We learned, are extremely bad this year. It wasn't the worst blowout I've seen, but it got me thinking.
Yep.
You've gone to a lot of hockey, so what is the ugliest, worst blowout game you've seen?
Gone or worked at a lot of hockey.
Yes.
April 10th, 1992. It's the
back.
Women's IIHF World Championship. So the World Championships, the highest level for women's hockey. We hosted it in Vermont when I worked there. And on this particular day, 2 games back to back. Game 1, Canada versus Russia.
Okay.
14-1.
Oh.
Game 2, Finland versus the United States, 11-0.
Wow.
This is a time period, and it's still kind of in that time period where pretty much only the U.S. and Canada are good at women's hockey.
Yeah.
There's some other teams starting to rise up now. This was 2012, but that was really the main matchup. But in one day, both those blowouts was ridiculous. In fact, 2 days earlier, I also saw a 9-0 win for the United States against Russia. So there were 3 blowouts in a row. And if you want to go back even a day before that, the U.S. actually whooped up on Canada 9-2.
I was gonna say, what happened when those two juggernauts met?
Well, in the round robin, they won 9-2 over Canada. But in the gold medal game, Canada got their revenge, their sweet revenge, winning 5-4 in a barn burner in one of the best women's championship games they've ever had. It was fantastic. Comeback for the ladies of Canada, who I was pretty much working a lot with them during that tournament. I was in charge of their locker room and stuff, so I was glad to see them win.
I thought you were going to say you were working them, like trying to lay down the lines and stuff. Like, oh yeah, hey, how you doing? If you need to,
trying to hit on all the lesbian hockey players. That's not a good idea. Largely.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. My buddy just told me right before we shot the show that there's about to be some wrestling footage back in our lives that we thought was lost. Back in the day when you used to use those big VHS tapes to record stuff. Mm-hmm. Me and my friends used to go into the gymnastics room at the University of Vermont, dress it all up, and make wrestling events. We had a wrestling league for a while, and we had a couple of events that were on tape, and they had been missing for well over a decade. No one has been able to figure out where these are. The tapes have been found.
Oh!
I am so stoked to see them, and I'm stoked to try to get them digitally, because in an era where I now can do a few things, with editing, We could put some drops on there and
Hell
really
yeah.
like spice it up. Could be a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. I want to know what footage of you exists
Oh, Jesus Christ.
from the past that you would like to really get your peepers on. I know you used to do a lot of acting.
That's true.
Somebody probably recorded that, or maybe your mom did. I don't know. Is there
Yes,
anything that you
Fish.
can remember from the past?
I was the lead in the high school play. Yes, no need to bring that up. My
Okay.
prestigious acting career. No, that wouldn't be too hard to get a handle on. It would probably be too embarrassing because I was like 18 at the time
Sure.
or something. I want to go younger,
Oh,
maybe a
so
little
younger.
zanier.
Okay.
You know,
Doesn't have to be performance based. It could be just you and your friends jump on a shopping cart in a parking lot that you recorded.
Yeah, but I was performance based as a child. Only child, man. I was like sit my parents and their friends down for magic shows and such like that. That would be pretty sick to see.
You still sit your friends and family down for magic shows. They're just basketball games now.
That was good. All right, Peach. So while you've been here in Connecticut, one of the things that you helped me is sorting all of my magic cards. And you love to sort. You might think this is a punishment out there. I didn't have my cousin working and just, hey, you must sort the card. Peach likes to sort. It's something that is enjoyable to you. So I got me to thinking, what would Peach do of this or that? Like sorting or sex?
Ooh.
Sorting.
I know why this came up because we made a joke the other day.
Sorting or let's say like a food. What's your favorite food?
Okay.
Like sorting or eating, sorting or sexing.
Sorting is
Where
kind of
is
what
it
I
gonna be?
sorting is kind of what I do to fill time.
Okay.
So I love a good sort.
Now you have to choose which.
But
you
I'll
like
sort when I'm done with the other activities.
Okay.
Now, it'd be hard for me to put sex into this conversation because I'm not really familiar with it. It's been a long time. I kind of forget how it's done. It's been since it's pre-COVID. It's pre-COVID for me.
Holy fuck.
So I'm not 100% sure, but I do remember it being fun, and there's no way I'm going to put sorting over that. I just want to let you know. There's no way. Sorting is just what I kind of do to fill time while I'm watching TV a lot of times. Or like, also, I think I've grown to love it more because of my skillability with it.
Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Like so fat. It would have taken me days to sort what
But why?
you
I
sorted.
don't understand. It was just
That's what
you have to
think.
loot. Like you can't stop to look at each card as you're sorting. You just like this has a value. Put it in that pile. Put it in that pile. Put it in that pile.
See,
put it
to
in that
him,
pile.
it's like second nature that you don't understand
Right.
how it's just become a part of you.
Yeah.
And
It's like a human robotic.
The average person can't sort.
I
like you,
am
so-
AI.
Oh man.
Yeah. The Magic have JI. I have AI. What up?
Wow. Well,
I love to sort.
he does love to sort.
Now we're gonna sort out a way to end the show.
Yeah. I was like, what do we do here? I mean, we have this whole photo of us going and destroying NBA Jam, which was a sick
Yeah,
time.
they lost our record, but that was our regular spot, and
Yeah.
we laid it down with the Magic.
Yeah, we
of
got a
course.
couple wins, of course.
Nick Anderson and Penny Hardaway just working fools.
Yeah. As
We
always.
took down the Mavericks, and who was the other team? I forget.
The Pistons do with Isaiah Thomas and
yeah.
Joe Dumars, man.
Yeah.
That was no joke.
Oh, we took them down.
Oh,
hard.
easy,
That
yeah.
was not close.
Yep. Well,
Yep.
we've been throwing it down on all the competition that have been coming here into Connecticut because we're back in the fan attic. We're like the Megazord as we have assembled here, and it's good to be back, baby.
It's been good to be back here. It's been a good 2024 for us. Final show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna
Happy New
we'll
Year.
do a wrap on Sunday probably, right? Because we're gonna watch
Yeah.
this game this time.
Yeah, we will. We will.
get
It's not
blacked out
on any
this time.
blacked out. Oh, it is actually blacked out.
But
so
we're
we
gonna
need-
watch it.
See?
We're gonna find it. We'll be ready.
Thank you for sticking with us. If you're still with us, Second Cousins, have a happy holiday and a happy new year. It's been real. Peace out, everybody.
Thanks for coming.